our community-made intro. I absolutely loved showing this video. It is my favorite part about these workshops. And welcome home and welcome to Base, everybody. Super glad to have Youssef with us today, who's going to be going over smart contract development. If you'd like to share a little bit about yourself and how you became Based, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Luciano. So I'm Youssef. I'm part of the developer relations team at Base. I started as an electrical engineer, worked in aerospace for a while, consultancy, and then eventually I got interested in blockchain systems, specifically, obviously, through crypto and DeFi in 2020. So after that, I did some blockchain development just as a hacker, just like many of you probably listening today. And um, after participating in multiple hackathons, I decided that I want to work in the industry. I built a company in the NFT space, which failed after 2 years. So again, if you try and fail, it's not the end of the world. And I joined Superfluid, a very famous Ethereum protocol. Worked there for about a year and a half, and I think 3 months ago or less, I joined Base as part of the developer relations team. I mostly work on smart wallet these days, but given that I've built an NFT project before, an NFT uh, com- uh, marketplace before, and as a company, and I worked at Superfluid for almost 2 years. I've done a lot of smart contracts development as a DevRel, as a dev, leading tech there, and also today I still touch smart contracts when it comes to smart wallets. So yeah, excited to do this workshop today, and it's always cool to intro people to smart contracts because it's one of the coolest primitives of blockchain and kind of like the building blocks, and it's great to discover the deeper layers of the Ethereum ecosystem and the EVM.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. My first question is which of those hackathons were your first way back in the day? Where were they? When were they? Who were you building with?
Yeah, I remember back then. So one thing that I did that was really cool is this consensus bootcamp back. They don't do it anymore. Shout out to Coogan, who was one of the main organizers at Consensus, and that one was really really cool. I did that in 2021, so that was I think when I first started participating in blockchain hackathons. Back then, Avalanche was pretty big and hot, so I did a few Avalanche hackathons, but it's always the EVM. It's always the same thing.
Yep.
Solidity, right? So
Yeah, it makes sense. And it's really cool to hear that you joined Superfluid. I actually didn't know that you did work at Superfluid. We're working with Fran right now. Actually, Fran is meeting with the local government in Casanova. I should be there as well, but I'm on these live streams instead. So we're working with the local government to help these citizens allocate tax dollars to local public goods and to local charities. So
very
yeah,
cool.
like literally the meeting is within a few hours. And Brandon, my partners are
Graven, right?
yeah, Graven has been incredible, absolutely instrumental. I love Graven. I mean, we're using Council House contracts and everything.
Yeah.
I can even tell you we would not have been able to get anywhere without Graven and Fran. I mean,
Well, I
just
wrote the spec for Council House for Council House.
are you serious?
Yeah. I
Okay,
built it with one other developer.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the other guy, but I didn't know you did too. Okay, well, I just know
Yeah.
of him. I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to tap you in.
Yeah. Sounds
'Cause
great.
all right, great. We're gonna have to connect on that after this call. This is the best part about the base ecosystem, just synergy all around, right?
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
pure community, pure mission driven vibes. You gotta love it. But I won't take up too much of your session. If you have something that you'd like to present, feel free to click the present button, add something, and I'll add it to the stage. As you start presenting, I'm going to turn off my screen just so people can focus on you and what you're doing, but I'll be here the whole time. So if there's an issue or something goes wrong, just let me know and we'll manage.
Sounds great. Let me try maybe just I'll try share just one window here. You can see it, right?
Yes, I can.
It's
And
just
everyone, make sure you send those base names. You know I'm waiting for those base names. If you don't have a base name yet, send the ENS, send the ETH address. I will be taking down all of those base names. I'll be waiting for them. And Youssef, feel free to take it away.
Sounds great. Thank you. So I'll keep it very simple today. I'll try to start simple and then gradually, I guess, get a little bit more complicated when it comes to the tooling that we use specifically. So um, I'll give a very quick intro for smart contracts, but I'm not going to spend too much time explaining what a smart contract is or what a blockchain is, even if you come from that background. So I will spend some time on it, but most of the time that I'll spend, I'll show you how to use the tools and how to actually deploy a smart contract. And hopefully by the end of this session, even if you don't know what a smart contract is, once you see it in action and being deployed and being written, you will understand the idea. So um, as most of you in this session probably know, smart contracts are pieces of code that you deploy on the blockchain and they work or get executed autonomously. I think that's a very simple definition. Um, Specifically here, we are going to be talking about EVMs, so Ethereum virtual machines. And smart contracts in the EVM ecosystem are written in a language that we call Solidity. So that's what we will be presenting today. Yeah, so smart contracts allow you to build programs, and that's, by the way, how they're called in the Solana ecosystem, called programs. Um, it allows you to build a program that runs autonomously on the Ethereum virtual machine. And people can interact with it. So when they interact with it, there are two ways basically to interact with a smart contract. Either you call the smart contract so that it gives you an information that it already holds in what we call the state. So something that already is stored in the blockchain, and it just gives you that information. So that's what we call a view method. So you're just going and view the data, and that's for free. So if you just go in and check what is the data on the blockchain, that's free. If you're trying to change data on the blockchain, you have to pay for it, gas, and that's what we call a transaction, right? And so most of you have interacted with blockchain applications, on-chain applications, and you paid gas, you send transactions, and that's what you're doing basically. You're changing data on the blockchain. So once you change data on blockchain, you will have to pay for it in the form of gas. I guess that's as much as I will explain. Not sure, Luciano, if
I think that's perfect.
okay. Am I getting questions on the way? Where can I see the questions if there are questions? Will you relay them
There's
in the
a
chat?
Yeah, there's a bar on your right. Click comments, and you'll be able to
Okay.
see all of the.
Okay, great.
No questions yet, just base names.
Awesome. If
Just
there are
very
some
brief.
questions that I missed, and you see them, if you can, yeah, just let me know.
I'll pay
I'll stop
attention
right away.
as you go, and I'll ask them for you.
Sounds great. Thanks. Um, so if you want to start building with smart contracts without too much hurdles, um, there is a tool actually in the Ethereum ecosystem that I'm not aware there's another ecosystem that has some similar tool, but maybe I'm wrong. It's called Remix, right? Like Remix, if you go to remix.ethereum.org, and by the way, make sure that you got the link right. So maybe I'll share it here in the private chat, and or you can share it, Luciano. Um,
Yeah, I can share. Shoot it. Yeah, okay, I'll share it on the Twitter comments.
Sounds good. So remix.ethereum.org. Make sure that you get the link right now to get fished. As always, be careful. We are in a lot of times building financial applications, which attracts a lot of phishing and things like that. So always be careful what links you're going to. Always be careful what code you're pasting in Remix, and we will see that in a second. But if you navigate to remix.ethereum.org, you can directly start building smart contracts. So you will see this page, and you can start a new workspace. But oftentimes, when I first started building smart contracts, I wouldn't even start a new workspace. I would just come here and find one of these files here, and just like you know delete the other files and start building. rename this and start building. So what I suggest that we build today is a very simple smart contracts, but it will show you quite a few things. Um, I'm sure most of you have context around NFTs, or maybe they've bought some, maybe they've sold some, maybe they have exchanged or played games or collected them, or depending how your interactions are in the space, or maybe you've just heard of them, right? So what an NFT is basically is just a ledger that is stored on the blockchain. So we keep track of the token IDs of that NFT contract, and we will attach we will attach an address that is the owner of that token ID, and we store that on the blockchain. And once it's transferred, we change that data. That's basically what an NFT is, and we call that standard ERC 721. So it's just a standard of how an NFT could look. And if you look here, if we Google it, ERC 721, you can see OpenZeppelin docs. And OpenZeppelin is a very famous team that creates smart contracts and very famous libraries. But you can see here what it is. If we go to, yeah, PR reference. So you can see what an ERC 721 is. It's just a smart contract that has a bunch of methods, functions, right? And those functions or methods, you can call them uh, from outside the blockchain, from other contracts. We will see how that works. But it's just a standard that is created so that, hey, if you are trying to create an NFT, these are the methods that you need to include in your smart contract. And you can go check them out in the Open Zeppelin documentation for IRC 721. So we will build with that today. And what we will build is very simple, easy contract that disperses NFTs to people. So say you have 10 NFTs as an artist, right? This is something very useful oftentimes for creators on chain. They want to send NFTs to their followers, and they don't want to send it one by one. There are no like easy tools. It's something so simple that many people still struggle with, and artists specifically struggle with. They have to send NFTs by one, things like that. So it's just uh, impractical. So today you can build your own smart contract to disperse your NFTs, which is pretty cool. Um, no questions up until now or comments. Okay,
No,
cool.
we're looking good so far.
Sounds great. Okay, so as I said, I just take this and I changed the name. So let's call it NFT disperser, or let's call it contract. Let's call it um, yeah, NFC disperser. Okay, disperser. Sounds good. And let's delete all of this. And let's say that we want to work with whatever, you know, version of Solidity that, so this, you have to kind of specify the version of Solidity. You can use, for this one, let's use anything over 8 is fine. Don't really sweat it too much. Just put whatever version that you find already in the in the file here, or something that makes sense to you. If there's problems related to that, you will get errors. So don't sweat that too much. And you have to specify the license in your smart contracts also. But this also comes with this file in Remix. So let's start writing. What do we do? We have to write. It's like um, object-oriented programming for JavaScript. If you've done Java, JavaScript, object-oriented programming, you know that create a class, and in the class there's a main, which is the constructor, and then you have some functions. So exactly that's how it works, and that's how it looks. So we create contract. Let's call it NFT disperser. Okay, and already, so now we have AI completion within Remix. This is new. I was not aware of that, but it seems that we do have it. It doesn't look great though, so don't trust it too much. But it's a good option. I'm sure it's going to get a lot better with time. Yeah, but I'll choose not to rely too much on the AI completion here, and we'll just write it. I'll write it out of my own mind, and then if there are problems, then we will go and Google it, or like we will ask AI. So NFT disperser. Let's create the constructor. So the constructor is this function that gets called as soon as the contract is deployed. And so within the constructor, we want to specify for this specific smart contract, I guess, an address of an NFT token address. I'll show you in a bit why I'm doing this, but okay. Yeah, so in the constructor, so what I want is that I want this NFT disperser, I want it to only be able to disperse one type of NFT collection. Let's say I have an NFT collection that I deployed. It's an open edition. Anyone can mint, or maybe it's not open. Yeah, anyone can mint, but it costs money, and I have a lot of supply in my wallet. And every week I run a raffle, and I send 10 of that collection to my fans on my Farcaster account or something like that. So the NFT address, the NFT collection does not change. The only thing that changes is who owns which token IDs. So let's say that when you deploy your smart contract, your NFT disperser, you already specify the NFT address. And for that, we need to create an empty, or okay, let's create this, and address, NFT token address. Okay. This, let's make it private. So okay, so we created a variable called NFT token address, right? And it's a private variable. If you make it a public variable, it will be exposed in the contract, and anyone can query the value of it. It's not a problem, but it makes your contract heavier. In general, if you don't really need to expose the variable to public, try and make it private so that it doesn't, so the contract is lighter, and you can deploy it on with less gas, and also like there's actually a limit of how big your smart contracts can be. So you may not face that now, but eventually you might. So we create an address, private NFT token address. And what we will do is that we will say NFT token address takes this. So when you create your constructor, what you will do is that you will give an NFT token address to your smart contract so that it knows which collection we are trying to disperse here. Okay. Now we're actually trying to interact with an NFT contract, but we don't know how to interact with it. Like the next function that I'm going to create is going to be function disperse tokens, and it takes, like, let's say it takes uint call data token IDs. Yes, token IDs, and it also take address, call data. Let's call them recipients. Usually you might say two, but external. Okay. Okay. So this is the function I'm trying to create. Disperse tokens. But I need to interact with ERC 721. As we said before, ERC 721 has these functions, and one of them is transfer from. I need to tell my smart contract that how to interact with ERC 721. And so the way you can do that is you will need to import an interface, right? Like an interface is this basically is a smart contract that only includes or has the names of the functions. We don't know exactly what's happening inside these functions, but at least we know the names of them and how we can interact with them. So let's do import, and let's do, yeah, OpenZeppelin. So OpenZeppelin is one very famous library that everyone uses, highly secure, audited multiple times. Basically, the whole EVM space relies on these contracts, and they're like building blocks of the a lot of the contracts that you will see today in the Ethereum ecosystem. So yeah, so these are contracts that we will be relying on very, very often. Open, wait, I think it gives you, yeah, so if I click here, then I do this, I can, ERC721. Okay, so I imported the interface, and so now I will create an instance actually of ERC721, and let's call it private NFT contract, right? And then what we will do is that, yeah, exactly. So the AI got it right. So what we'll do is that we will assign an IRC721 to this instance, and we will use this instance here. So we will do for, I think it's for I int I equals 0, something like this. Yes, or maybe like this. Is this a good syntax? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe like this, right? Okay, actually have. Oh, this one does not exist here. Okay. Something like. Well, let's see. I actually had. Okay, I always forget. Okay, so it is like JavaScript. What did I get wrong? It's uint, yeah, and then do this, and then do this. Okay. So yeah, exactly. So what I'm doing here is basically just like looping through the list of token IDs and sending them to the recipient. Now this may not work because if you remember, if you've ever sold an NFT or something like that, you will remember that you have to kind of approve before you can sell or like transfer your NFT. And so the way we will do that is we will do what we call a requirement. Okay, so you don't need to do this. Actually, your transaction would fail if you try to run this without approving the NFT disperser to manage your NFTs. So what you need to do before you do this is you need to approve the NFT disperser contract to spend your NFTs. And so what we will do to make sure that you have approved and that you're not wasting gas is that we will do NFT contract dot, I think the function is I think approval for all. Yes, this is the function. And so we will check if you have approved. So message.sender, I'll explain all of this in a bit. Address this, and then, oh wait. Yeah, operator approved. Is approved for all. Sorry, this is the function. Okay. Is approved for all. Is approved for all. Yeah. Address 0, no. So is approved for all is a function that takes the owner and the operator. So the owner here is a message.sender, and the operator is address this. Okay, it's A little bit complicated if you are coming to this for the first time, but hopefully it's useful. Okay, we're missing NFC contract. Okay. Yeah, need it here. Okay. So what we're doing here is that we are checking if you have approved this our contract to manage your NFTs, and if you have not approved it to manage your NFTs, we send you an error message saying that the transfer is not approved. And then what we do is that we take your tokens and we disperse them. We send them to the addresses that you specified, basically. Let me do another import here. Maybe I'm not going to use it, but right. I think it's. I wonder what this looks like. Okay. Okay. Can I actually deploy IRC? Yeah, I can deploy. Yeah, I need to deploy a full NFT contracts. Okay, it's not a big deal. We will interact with an already existing contracts, or let's build an NFT contract because we need an NFT contract to test with it. So we kind of have to build it. Okay, I'll try to build a NFT contract really quickly. Let's say mintable ERC 721. That's all. Okay. Let's bring this and also this. I'll explain. Okay. So now that I've had built the NFC disperser, I'm trying to use this one. So we need to deploy an NFT, right? Like an NFT contract. I will deploy a very simple one. Contract mintable ERC 721 is ERC 721. Okay. Yeah, why not? And let's say that I don't think there's a need for a modifier. Let's just do function mint address to token ID. I guess why not? And this sounds not too bad actually. This doesn't look too bad. Okay.
Looks like we may have lost our speaker there. Let's give it a second and let him come back in. Stay tuned with us. We'll be here. Let's see if we can get Yusuf back in as soon as possible. And we're back already. And we're back, just like that.
How long was I off?
Not even 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I
No,
didn't.
no, it really is no issue at all.
Yeah, apologies.
No, no, no need to apologize. Really appreciate it. It's been fucking amazing so far. I am like locked in right now. I really appreciate the session.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Good to know. Um, so we are here, right? So did before I stopped, what was the last thing I did?
I'd say go back
Creating
to
an NFT contract.
yep, yep.
Okay, so I did write the NFT contract. It's very easy. I imported ERC 721, and I have a constructor here just to kind of set up the name and symbol, and a very simple mint function. So we will mint token by token. Um, I can explain why we're doing it, why it looks like this, but for example, it's really related to how OpenZeppelin is building their ERC 721 contracts and things like that. So no need for us to kind of look at this ERC 721 contract that I'm using. It's just for the sake of testing, I will be deploy this mintable ERC 721 contracts. Our main contract that we should pay attention to is the disperser, because if you're coming to the NFT disperser, you already have your ERC 721 ready in your wallet and you're trying to disperse it. So um, again, what this contract does is very simple. You bring your ERC 721 tokens, so your NFTs from one collection, and you disperse them, right? And we have fixed the collection address. Actually, you can only disperse one type of collection address, which is this one, the one that we declare when we deploy the NFT disperser. So very simple use case, very easy. We can go ahead and actually deploy these contracts and interact with them on chain. So
Yeah.
are you able to see my wallet? Not really, I think.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So um, it's not a problem. So now that we have our contracts, what we will do is actually what you can do in Remix is that you can do Command S, or you can come here and be like compile and click compile to see if your address, if your contract compiles. And our contracts compile. We have this green, mark here, but as you've seen earlier, sometimes we had some errors and things like that. So if you have errors, you have to debug and see what happens. So Remix is good for debugging today. And it's starting today just because it gives you this IDE where you can deploy easily. But with AI tools and perhaps Cursor and others, you might want to use Foundry. I don't think we will have the time to go deeper, at least deep into Foundry today. Let's see how much time we will have. But Foundry is kind of like the tool that the industry uses. I don't want to say the whole industry, but most the teams use Foundry for testing, just because it allows for formal testing. It's a great framework, and it's it's an amazing tool for EVM developers. But anyway, going back to our topic, NFT disperser, let's deploy it. So here you will see there are a few options you have to deploy. One of them is the one that is by default is the Remix VM. So this is a local VM that Remix has that you can deploy to. It comes with no smart contracts, I think. The Cancun one, or you can fork mainnet, fork Ethereum. So what we will do is simpler than that. We will use just injected provider Coinbase wallet. So I already have a Coinbase wallet connected to here, and I will change the or okay. I feel like okay, this is why I think. Hmm. Well, it's not a big deal. Let's use. I think I was using Smart Wallet here, and it's not gonna allow me to change the network. So yeah, okay. Let's use MetaMask to see this actually. Sorry, just setting up my wallet so that things are working. Okay. I will set up my Coinbase wallet. Okay. Just setting up base Sepolia RPC. So I assume if you have your testnet already ready. Okay, wait. I'm trying to disconnect from this, but it wouldn't work. Okay, it's fine. Okay, let's not do this. Actually, let's just deploy to the Remix VM. It's fine. We don't need to deploy to a testnet, but I'll show you in a bit how to deploy to a testnet. So we could just deploy to the Remix VM, and to do that, let's start by deploying our ARC.
You were just trying to deploy to base Sepolia.
Yes.
And do you know why it wasn't working?
The problem I have here is that I think the way to do it is maybe I go to wallet.coinbase.com and I have to disconnect
Ah, I see.
the smart wallet.
Yes.
Yeah, from the website. I think it's somewhere around here. I just didn't want to have people.
Yeah, it makes sense. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. I think now if I do this, it should probably maybe work. Inject a provider. It still has the I think Remix is just not very adapted to smart accounts, that and passkeys. So if you go here to the apps, maybe where I'm sure exactly. Anyway, I don't want to spend. I don't want to waste time looking for the. But the issue here is that I am connected my smart wallet, which is set up to mainnet, to Ethereum mainnet, and this website. So Remix is a legacy website that does not manage chain switching by itself. So apps today, they manage chain switching. Um, Remix gives you the possibility to chain switch from the wallet. And so a lot of the apps that you see today, they either impose on you the chain, or they make you chain switch. When it comes to Remix, it just doesn't give you the possibility to chain switch. So we're kind of stuck. But this is where we are actually in the EVM ecosystem. So, and this is why we actually need a lot more builders than today, because there's a lot of hurdles. There are so many problems with UX and legacy apps and legacy ways of doing things and non-standardization, which makes it that even like some of the basic features are lacking in you know in some of our basic tools. So we do need a lot more builders. We do need a lot more people building the space and actually solving these issues. For now, let's do with the Remix VM. Cancun, it's good enough. It's great. We will deploy there, and you will see how it works. So let's start by deploying the NFT, the mintable ERC-721. Okay. The mintable ERC-721 needs a name. Let's call it test token, and let's put a symbol that is test. And the transactions went through in the VM, so there was no prompting of your wallet. But if you do use inject a provider, you will see your wallet being prompted. Yeah, so we have our NFTs that's been deployed here. We're gonna try to mint to our address. So let's copy the address. So this is our address actually that we're interacting with on the blockchain, on the the blockchain, the fictive blockchain that is the Remix VM. Let's mint to this address. Let's mint to it the token ID number 0. Let's start with 0. Transact. Okay, the transaction went through. All good. Amazing. Let's mint 1. Transaction went through. Let's mint 2. Transaction went through. And now what we will do is that we will deploy the other contract. So we will deploy what's in the contract is called NFT disperser. Let's do this again here. Okay, awesome. NFT disperser. So we will need to deploy this contract, but in the variables of entry of this contract is actually the NFT that we want to disperse. So we will put the address here and click transact. And lo and behold, the NFT disperser has been deployed. And so what we want to do now is that we want to specify how many token ID. We want to specify the list of the token IDs, sorry, that we want to send to myself, to some other address. Let's say I want to send it to another recipient, this one, right? Okay. Okay. Let's say I want to send it to another recipient, to a list of recipients. So 2 recipients. So 1, and the other recipient is going to be this one, for example. Okay, 2. 1 and 2. Okay. And we're trying to send the token ID 0 and the token ID 1. Now, I will click transact, but it's not going to go through. And it's not going to go through because I didn't approve. But let's see. See this. Oh, okay. So there's a value mismatch. I'm not sure it's the syntax when it comes to. Is it like this? Comes to remix. Okay, this is not. I think maybe we need to put the whole array like such. What does it say? Okay. Okay. Okay, maybe. Is this how you write it? Displace array value. Did I put? Not sure how Remix takes the arrays. Okay. How to put arrays in Remix. Just like good old Stack Exchange. Okay, seems like, oh, okay. I need to value in Remix. Okay, so I have to actually put the brackets here, seems like. Oh, okay, so this should come in this way. Okay, I see. Yeah. Very careful the way, exactly. So finally, we got it. It's always small details, so make sure you put your input values right. But yeah, so it gave us an error here. It occurred, and lo and behold, it's the error that we actually provided, right? NFC disperser transfer not approved. So we need to approve the NFC disperser to actually to use our NFTs from our balance. And the way we do that is we go back to the ERC 7921 contract, we go back to the NFT contract, and we call set approval for all. And what we will approve, we'll approve the operator. So we will approve the NFC disperser contract, right? That's the operator. And we have a Boolean here. So we just set true. So we're given approval, like full approval to NFT disperser to manage our NFTs. This is very serious stuff. You do this every time you want to transact on OpenSea and things like that. But today in wallets, a lot of times you will see a prompt that tells you, "Hey, you're about to approve this contract, this app to access all of your NFTs. Be careful." And so this is the function that's actually being called when you're prompted to do that. So let's do that. Okay, transaction went through. We had our NFC disperser approved to manage our NFTs. Now let's go back and call the same function disperse tokens and see if this time it actually works. there you go. The transaction went through, and as you will see, if I change the wallet, so this is the wallet that I sent the NFT to, and I go to Mintable ERC 7921, and I look at my balance. So where's balance? Balance of, yeah, I can call balance of this one, of this contract, this account, and it should give me one. So now it has one NFT. So its balance is one. So it actually gives one. Yeah, so that's basically what you would do. If you want to, now that we have a little bit more time, let me try and actually, um, yeah, let me stop sharing my screen, and if you can pick up some questions if someone has, and meanwhile, I will try to disconnect my Coinbase smart wallet from Remix. Or if you have questions, since you've said that you've
Someone
looked at it.
someone did have a question.
Yep.
I do want to give you a second to actually accomplish what you're doing, though.
Oh,
I'm gonna play the video. God, I love it so much. All right, so our question from the audience is, I find it's difficult to fork a project like Aave. Their smart contracts are so complicated. Any suggestion on researching those sophisticated smart contracts?
um,
So I guess this is a good question to start with. When you were building the NFT marketplace, did you fork any existing smart contracts?
we did not. We built a rentals marketplace. So no, we did not. We did not fork any existing rentals marketplace. I think yes. If you are trying to fork off yes, there are a lot of contracts there.
Um,
So if you're forking Aave, oftentimes you're not really forking Aave. If you really are not trying to modify anything from Aave, all of these protocols, they have deployment instructions. So go to their docs, go to their repos, and look for deployment instructions, and they must have like a deployment script, or either have like a smart contract that helps you deploy. So for example, if for Superfluid we had obviously deployment scripts or deployment steps, and you don't really need to understand what's happening um, in the contracts and like fork actually the repo and go and set up your own deployment scripts. But yeah, if you're forking Aave, hopefully you at least know, what a lot of things there do, and how you can build a front end on top of it. Like people being cynical about, oh, it's just an Aave fork, it's just a Uniswap fork on Twitter, and it just seems like it's easy. It's not really easy to build an actual proper Uniswap fork with your own custom UI. Go and try to do that. And then actually, Uniswap UI is open source too, so that makes it maybe perhaps easier, but perhaps even harder, because you're just looking into somebody else's code base, and good luck running all these services, and make sure that you have the proper parameters and everything that go with the indexers that they're using and things like that. It's just not easy.
Yeah, people did used to shit on sushi, but like, I mean, it was really impressive actually how well they actually were able to come to market, and actually take real market share. Of course, it didn't last very long, but that's just part of the game.
Yeah, PancakeSwap is also a
Mm,
fork of Uniswap. There's so many forks
yeah,
of
yeah.
Uniswap. It's not a problem. It's Uniswap. The cool thing about it is not just the smart contracts or the code. It's the infrastructure behind, the fact that it's the little UX quirks that they have. Their indexer, is it fast or not? Things like that. So yeah.
No hooks, yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see how Uniswap has evolved over time, and honestly, I'm really excited to see how Unichain sort of evolves. I don't know how it will evolve or if it will see substantial liquidity, especially like Arbitrum is obviously like one of the biggest L2s in terms of like DeFi liquidity specifically, and of course Base is probably going to take number two. So it's going to be interesting to see if Unichain can like compete with Arbitrum and Base, but it's going to be cool to see.
Yeah, definitely, especially with superchain interop, right? Like
Mhm.
when the actual interoperability comes in, at least in terms of token swapping, I can see Unichain becoming kind of the at least partly the liquidity hub, or a big liquidity hub in the superchain. Yeah, interesting to see how the interaction is going to happen there between Base and Unichain and other
Yeah.
superchain. Yeah.
Will be really cool. So, yeah, especially as the super chain continues to evolve. I mean, once interoperability gets to a place where we want it, it's going to be really special.
Definitely, definitely, and I think swapping or moving tokens between chains is probably the easiest one to tackle in terms of interop. General message passing is a bit harder. Get doing like custom actions and stuff like that. Cross chain is not going to be easy anytime soon, I think. But swapping, moving tokens, bridging, things like that are probably going to be pretty easy, pretty simple, pretty seamless.
I totally agree. All right. So, do you have any last things that you would like to share with our for our builders? I mean, I guess I guess we still do have some time here. Scoho isn't on yet, so feel free to continue if you'd like.
Um, One thing that I think would be nice. I mean, I could show you how you deploy, but you can figure it out. I think from the if you have a wallet, injected wallet, basically all the transactions that I did, you can do them from your wallet being prompted and things like that. So people who have interacted with blockchain apps before should be able to like deploy and all do all these transactions that I've been showing you doing. It's just with a prompt. And actually, eventually, now with Smart Wallet, we're building sub accounts and there will be no prompt. And so that's the experience that I showed, that you just click and the transaction goes through, is probably the experience that you will be experiencing from now on, as years come through. No more prompting, no more your wallet being prompted. It's like when you're using Zora and you're trading or doing things on Zora, you just click and things happen. Like there's no need for you to have these wallets being prompted in your face and things like that. So probably it was for the best that I didn't have the extension working. Um,
That's great.
but one thing that I think, let me go back to share my screen, that I think is probably pretty valuable for you to check. Oh, wait, sorry. I need to share the other one.
And make sure you're sending in those base names, people. If you don't have a base name, send the ENS, send the ETH address. I want to see those base names.
Foundry. So this is what
Mm.
this sorry, Foundry book. This is other tool that you will be using, book.getfoundry.sh. Send it here, maybe in the private chat. And yeah, Foundry is a great tool. You can go install it and then go with the first steps. It's becoming easier and easier to do this. And the good thing about Foundry is actually you can write tests in Solidity. So that's another level. If you want to become like an actual professional smart contract developer, you will have to write formal testing. You can't just like do things on Remix and test it with your hand. You have to write formal testing. You have to do what we call fuzz tests. So you test on multiple variables and a big space and things like that. And Foundry is great for that. Now the good news is, over time, it's getting a lot easier to write formal testing out of smart contracts, just because we have LLMs, right? Like we have AI. You give it smart contracts and give it enough examples and things like that. Now it depends what your contract is like. If it's a general purpose contract, the ERC 721, things like that, yeah, it's to a certain protocol or something that's a little bit more obscure. Obviously, you're gonna have to set up your cursor in a way that makes sense. And for Base, we have a lot of tools. One of them is Base Builder MCP that you can add, that goes and explores the documentation for you and things like that. So and we're going to be building a lot more tools for your AI coding assistants. This is definitely a direction that we're taking. So, and I think the Foundry team probably building something in that space, and also I've seen a lot of like in general contributors on X sharing some stuff around Foundry and MCPs and AI coding assistance. So definitely rely on AI for testing. I would definitely rely on it if you're specifically if you're starting out, if your smart contracts is simple. Not to say that you should push contracts to production or that have been written with tests written with AI, but uh, yeah, it could help a lot. And with smart contracts, maybe you want to lead into AI, but you want to also ask the AI what it does and try to understand what's happening there, not just vibe code contracts or tests. But yeah, Foundry is a tool that I think you will use quite often today, at least. Some people use Hard Hat. But Foundry is really cool because it actually allows you to test in Solidity. So you write Solidity and write tests in Solidity, and that's I don't know any other smart contracts framework that does that, but maybe it does exist. I'm not aware of all of them, but yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, it probably does exist, but yeah, I mean, I doubt to the extent that Foundry is. But that's is that everything, Yusuf? Is that everything you'd like to share for
Yeah,
today?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a topic that is it's hard to kind of tackle everything in an hour, but I hope I gave you just a primer, even though it still might be complicated. I think the first smart contracts I worked on was a lottery contract, very simple, doesn't require any calls to ERC 721 or anything like that. But I just thought it's nicer to go a little bit deeper into the weeds. I don't have a repo for this, but I can just like put it into a quick repo and send it afterwards.
Yeah, feel free. I'm sure people would love it. And this is just the first workshop of many. So, if there's more to go over, I'm sure we'll be able to tackle it in the future. But really, really appreciate you joining us today. Really appreciate the workshop was incredible. And if there's any last things you'd like to share with our builders for base batches specifically, would love for you to give them a word of advice.
Um, Yeah, well, one, reach out. So if you have problems, questions, technical questions, things that you think I can help with, or base in general can help with, reach out to me on in my DMs on Twitter. My DMs are open for everybody. Anyone can send me DMs, and I often check my requests. So I will see your DM if you have any question, technical question, anything that you would love help with. Um, and yeah, no, I think the only thing that you should pay attention to is build things that people want to use. I guess that's the thing that you should keep in mind as your first rule. Like in these buildathons and a lot of other building competitions, you may have the tendency sometimes to kind of build for the judges or build for base or build for us. Or don't build for us, build for the users, build for people who build things that people want to use. And I understand the tendency to want to do that, and you may be pulled in that direction, but it's just not great for you long term. And eventually, you will impress a lot more people by just having users and having traction. So, built for that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's really important what you said about reaching out first and foremost. I mean, the base community is incredible, especially the people that actually work at base. They are happy to assist you. If you need any information, if you have any questions, please reach out either to me, to them, to anybody in the base community. People are here to help. And secondary, like you said, build for users, build for real people, build for people that actually want to use your product. That is the goal here. So. Um, Really appreciate you again, and thank you so much, and really would love to have you back on again in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Luciano. It was very fun, very cool, and always happy to share whatever I've learned.
Amazing. Oh, and make sure after you hop off, hop in the live stream chat on Twitter and post your Twitter so people can follow you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Gotcha. All right. I will
Cheers.
catch you next time.
Bye.